Reddit, what secret are you taking to the grave? I went to counseling for abuse after my parents divorced, and I was never abused, so they put me in the regular room with all the people there who were waiting for their siblings. I claimed my father abused me so I could go to the special room with all the abused kids. It was horrible. I had no right being in that room with all those people. They all were really messed up from what their parents had done to them, and I just got in so I could play Yu-Gi-Oh! Edit, I was probably 7 or 8, and for what I know my father did not get in trouble. I see him every week. I didn't know what I was doing back then. In 3rd grade, I cheated on my history exam. In 4th grade, I stole my Uncle Max's toupee and I glued it on my face when I was Moses in my Hebrew school play. In 5th grade, I knocked my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the dog. When my mom sent me to the summer camp for fat kids and then they served lunch, I got nuts and I pigged out, and they kicked me out. But the worst thing I ever done, I mixed a pot of fake puke at home, and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony, and then I made a noise like this, hooah 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 hooah, and then I dumped it over the side, all over the people in the audience. And then, this was horrible, all the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life. Might as well get this off of my chest. Without going into great detail, purposely vague, more than 5 years ago, I was a part of a group of 3 to 5 people that would successfully take the MCAT in place of others for a fee. We were all adept at taking the exam. Our clients were old money types with kids who could not make the cut, or didn't want to try. The fee was $100,000 plus any other extra charges. Fake fingerprints, IDs, prosthetics, you name it, and we did it. I had no qualms doing this, as my reasoning was, if they can't pass the exam, how in the duck would they get through med school plus steps? Take their money and let them fail out of med. No problems until one of the clients actually managed to get through school, and had racked up some malpractice, thankfully nothing too serious. It hit me hard to the point of attempted suicide. I quit and went to therapy, and the group disbanded, for other reasons, shortly thereafter. I'm doing much better now, but this info is staying with me from people that I know, and staying with you, random reader. In 7th grade, Joe thought Brandon put the lime salt on his brownie, but it was actually me. I worked for a shipping company at a customer desk. A guy I had known came in to ship a package. He was a known drug dealer in my town. He didn't recognize me. The package was wrapped in duct tape. I took the package, brought it out back, and made it disappear into my backpack. After my shift I opened the package and found $37,890 in cash. I never went back to the job, and never heard anything about it. I left Texas a month later with cash in hand. I threw rocks at the school with one of my best mates, and some other student tattled on us. Basically we both got the paddle. Basically they smack your bum, and they sent a letter home to my dad. My dad received the letter, and I lied to him and said I never threw the rocks. My dad, bless his heart, believed me, and took it to our school principal and convinced him that I wouldn't lie about such things. Since the principal wanted to rectify it for my dad's sake, he offered me a free voucher for an ice cream as an apology. It's 15 years down the track now, and I still feel really bad for it. I feel like if I told my dad now it would break his heart. I just threw a bag of shit across the street into my neighbor's yard at 1 AM after shitting in the garage because the toilet is broken. I thought it was okay because she's really mean to her own kids. Sadly, and I just realized as I was typing this, the kids will likely have to pick the shit up. I'm not telling anyone because I'll probably do it again before my toilet gets fixed. When I was a teenager, I was playing in a duo with a saxophonist. I played guitar on a cruise ship. The gig paid $200 each, and they gave me a check that I could cash and distribute to the saxophonist, who is also a really good friend. For a few weeks after the gig, I forgot about giving him the money, and he totally forgot as well. One day, I noticed the money in an envelope in my desk, and wondered how long it would take him to remember and ask me about it. He never did. I still have the money. He's still my friend, and I've never done anything like that since, but I can't bring it up now, and probably won't. It was the actions of an greedy, asshole past version of myself that I don't want to drag up at this point. Bacon is always the first food to be cooked by my father in the mornings. As a child, I would steal myself an extra piece and blame it on my little brother. Hence, I'd get a total of 3 pieces, and Browski would only get 1. Looking back, the oldest kid gets away with so much shit. Me and my wife were going through tough times. I just got back from Afghanistan. I played Russian roulette with my .357 Magnum, 3 loaded. I lost. Getting a divorce now and alive. Uncle tragically passed away last year. Never married. No kids. Treated his 10 nieces and nephews like we could do no wrong. I also found out he was probably gay, and I don't think he was out to my family, or at least to most of us. No one would have had a problem with it, but it's hard to come out when my grandma just wants to set her youngest, would have turned 50 in May, baby up with all the ladies, ya know? She's persistent but means well. Is also a tad oblivious at times, but she's in her 80s. Anyway, after he passed, my dad and I were in charge of finding files to the book he was supposedly writing about our family. We wanted to finish the book and publish it in his name. My dad was having no luck finding files on his hard drive, so I took a stab at it. Dad isn't the best at computers. I found dating site photos he had taken, shirtless mirror pics, photos of guys I assume he was talking to, and in my opinion he could have done better. You're the best uncle and only deserve the best. Also saw his history when I was looking through his browser/bookmarks to get to his emails and accounts. I forget if I deleted it yet. If I haven't, I will. I figured the search history was confirmation enough for me. A friend of mine confessed that a few years before I met her, she got pregnant by a man who didn't want to have anything to do with the baby or her. She could not afford to raise the baby herself, so she continued with the pregnancy, but did not tell anyone at work because she feared that she would be judged for it. She scheduled a C-section for Friday afternoon, took a half day off work, and was back on Monday. The baby was adopted by 2 of her friends. No one at work ever knew what she did. She said she was able to cover up her pregnancy by wearing extremely baggy clothes. When my cousin died a few years ago, my family went over to his house to look around for a sense of closure. I ducked away for a bit and noticed his computer was still on. On his desktop was his folder. I deleted it before my aunt and uncle saw it. My dad's a National Socialist and he regularly goes to meetings. I was raised on Germanic folklore and the idea that I'm superior to others because I'm of German descent. I have plenty of Jewish and slavish friends, and I just tell them my dad died when I was younger. TLDR, my dad's an Nazi. My sister and I were on holiday together recently, and very drunk one night when we got back from the bar. Naturally we started drinking more because we were on holiday. She has the ice cube tray in her hand, opens the window simultaneously, and loses her focus and drops the tray 5 floors to the street, hitting a big guy square in the dome. He looks up and started screaming and shouting in Italian. I live in Rome, so I understood he was calling us some bad names. We just closed the window and continued drinking, while we could hear this man shouting he was going to come up there and rip our heads off. Please never find me Mr. Scary Italian Man. My dad cheated on my mom with her sister when I was born. My aunt moved in to help my mother with the newborn, that is me. My mother told me while she was drunk at a dinner party and started it all off with, I know I sometimes sound like I hate you, but there's a reason. So, even though I love both of my parents, I secretly think they are both pretty awful excuses for human beings. My dad for obvious reasons, my mother for holding it all against me. In 5th grade I cheated on an exam. My buddy and I were the only 2 people in the grade who got this particular question correct, but I copied him. The worst part was he was considered dumb while I was at the top of the class, so the teacher was convinced that he copied me, and he ended up getting suspended. Long story short, I was too pussy to admit that I was the one who cheated, as my parents would have murdered me if I failed the test. And even worse if I got suspended. Yeah, no, that's the ducked up part. The teachers have no evidence of him cheating, as there isn't any. They just base it off of shit like this, and that's ducked up. I was a math tutor for years, and I had one family where 2 kids were accused of cheating on the first tests they had after they started working with me, because their grades improved. One told the teacher to give him another test right then and he'd do it, and he'd prove he knew how to do it, and the other told her teacher, "It's because I have a tutor who actually teaches me now." Man, I was proud. I was accidentally switched at birth and my, not biological, parents don't know. I'm 25, and was recently approached by a private investigator, who informed me that I was accidentally switched at birth with another family's baby. Apparently they were always a little doubtful that their child's appearance was indicative of their genes, so they did a DNA test when their kid was about 12, and they essentially waited until I was an adult to find me. At 12 years old they feared I might have wanted to come live with them, or their child would want to live with my family, so they waited until we were adults to tell us. This is where things get weird. My biological mom is a relatively famous entertainer, who has been in and out of the spotlight over the past 30 years or so. I remember watching her on TV and my mom telling me that I looked like her. I remember disagreeing, and going back into my room to play Perfect Dark on my N64. At this point, 1999, nobody knew the mix-up had occurred. Through her generosity I have inherited millions of dollars among other things, and nobody will know. Not even my parents who raised me. People will know I have the money because I'm gonna buy some wild shit with it, but I have no idea what to tell people when they ask me where it came from. My parents took me to get my hearing checked when I was 12, because I wasn't responding when they called my name. I pretended not to hear some of the beeps in the hearing aid test room. As a result, I wore a hearing aid for 2 years when I was 12 to 14 years old. I don't know why I did that. My freshman year of college, I was really hungover one morning, and I was back at my parents' house for the rest of the weekend. I was wearing loose-fitting athletic shorts with no underwear, and kind of rocking back and forth in front of the TV to feel that satisfying slap. Any dude knows what I'm talking about. Well, I went to fart, but instead a stream of diarrhea squirted out just at the right moment and completely missed my shorts, but got all over the carpet. I went to the bathroom to grab some toilet paper, and by the time I got back to the living room, my dad was on his hands and knees cleaning it up and yelling at my dog. I've never had the heart to tell him it was my accident. TLDR, I shat the carpet, but let my dog take the blame while my dad cleaned it up. Not as huge as the other secrets here, but about 6 or 7 years ago, I created a video together with my former boss. He was really passionate about it. After we put it up on YouTube, I commented "awesome" with my private account from home. The next day he was really excited about this comment. Didn't know it was me, and I'm going to keep it a secret. It is the only comment this video ever got, at least the last time I saw it. It's nothing big. It's actually something really small and innocent, and I've just decided to tell no one in real life. When I was 5 years old, a friend at primary school, whose name is Jay, told me he liked a girl called A, and asked me never to tell anyone. I never have and I never will. Almost 30 years and I haven't told anyone. Over the years I've thought about saying something to someone about it, but I've never been able to bring myself to do it. Just something about the innocence of that promise, I guess. He wouldn't even care now, but 5-year-old Jay would, and I don't want to break my promise to him. The secret formula for the Krabby Patty. Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formuoli. Me and my girlfriend were playing Monopoly, and she was so concentrated on the game, on the dice, on her properties. She was just so engrossed in the board that I was constantly taking money out of the bank and keeping it. I feel terrible about it, because she was just so adorable trying to play the game and concentrate on trying to win. I absolutely annihilated her because I had so much money. She wasn't a sore loser about it. When we were done playing and it was obvious I had won, she just kind of sighed and we watched a movie. The whole time I couldn't stop thinking about how absolutely adorable she looked while trying to concentrate and play. The way she looked at the money she had, and the properties she bought, like she was so proud of them. And I took advantage of that and stole money to win. I learned that from now on winning doesn't matter, I need to focus on having fun with her. But I will take this to the grave, because if she ever finds out, she'll be talking shit like nobody's business.